Okay, well, good. Well, yeah, we're live. We're in the mix
Yep.
here. Let's send out these tweets.
I'll tell you what. You know what's so I haven't told you this yet. I when I saw Casey tweet out about like there were certain like a whole bunch of MCU news he just got updates on. I was like, nah, that,
Yeah.
and I was thinking this would be a good time to get him on, like right around now if we could.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
If we didn't, as I go, if we didn't have something planned already, but then it kind of worked in our favor the way things were going scheduling wise. Like, let's just do it now.
We got a whole bunch of news to get to today, and I think this is an opportunity, an episode where the two of us should really shine, Nick.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh,
we
wait.
have degrees in this stuff,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
above all else, right?
Yes, fair point.
I see you have a matching shirt to go with the occasion today. I
Well,
appreciate you dressing up.
I've been getting like called out by people. Like Doc's calling me out.
Fashion Mac, right?
Goo always calls me out. So it's just like, what the fuck?
I know. I feel like you might be ducking them now.
Who, Goo?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly.
might be trying to avoid him. I don't know.
100%. Yeah. Did you see what he said in our group chat? So, like,
Yeah.
beforehand? Yeah. I have to duck him now. I gotta block him on. I gotta block his phone number and everything now.
Well, I have to tell you something on a related note about that. You know me and how I like to be spoiled on things. I stumbled upon a very credible, very well detailed spoiler for the entire movie of No Way Home, and I kind of regret reading it.
Oh no!
not regret it, but you know what I mean. It's all interesting. It's fun to see all the written word come to life, but
well,
I think it's credible. It's very detailed.
Well, the guy we're supposed to have on today would probably be the person to ask. But
yeah, but I'm not going to do that to the masses, though. People have been waiting for that,
No, and we're recording already. Well, yeah, we're already live, so we can't go and ruin that for anybody. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know if
I wouldn't ruin it for you either. I wouldn't do that.
I appreciate that. Just so what was the movie again? That was like 7 years old by the time I saw it, and it was a remake.
Oh yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
Why am I blanking on it? What is it?
Star is Born.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh man, and he got me. And I told you that. Well, how did you feel about Bradley Cooper singing in that movie?
Oh, he was awesome. He was great.
Oh, so good. So I've been trying to find more.
Did you go Chris Stapleton and Lucas Nelson and those guys?
Well, yeah. I like Chris Stapleton. I have quite a bit of his stuff, but then I've been trying to find some other stuff, and because I listened to Outlaw Country a little bit years ago, but it was like back when I had to buy every single song instead of now I have Apple Music. So now I kind of don't have to be as stingy, I guess, as I was.
Okay, so good question. You have Apple Music, so you don't have Spotify, or which do you use?
Well, I have this free version of Spotify, but I don't really use it.
Okay, because that's also a big contentious debate within our group chat here. Is
right.
I'm pro Apple. I'm all Apple everything. You come to my office, I have Apple everything.
Just
you know what I mean?
Keep it all the same. Nice.
It's the simplicity of it. So I already have it. I have the iPhone. Like why? I don't know. It just makes sense to me. But I asked because of the Spotify does the Wrapped. And everyone kind of tweets out there like year and like apparently the algorithms that it puts together. It's almost like your Yahoo fantasy football recap. It's like it's like insert team name here and like insert catch. It's like a Mad Libs. And it's like all this like weird stuff they were talking about. It's like your year was on fleek, but you weren't a Karen when it came to this band because you listened to it 97% of the time. You're like something stupid. Yeah, they're trying to catch ride on pop culture stuff.
Yeah, that's that they but it's still kind of cool. At least like the purpose that it's serving is kind of cool. You get to see all that stuff. I know like Mac was one I saw and it was all like Dua Lipa, and actually saw Chris Stapleton on his too. But yeah, I would be nice if Apple did that kind of thing. But look, Spotify is fine and everything. I don't know. It's like you said, just keep it all linear. I don't care about.
No, you have a folder, a playlist of your replays of every year. They have that now. Like for as long as you have Apple Music, you can go back to say if you signed up for Apple Music in 2015, you can go back and there's a playlist for your most played songs of that year and every year up until the current one.
I did not know that. All right,
yeah, it's nice.
I got to look at them just in case you know.
It's mostly Kanye. It's mostly Kanye for me. Every year. It's like a lot of the same every year. There's not much variety.
Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just letting him know to hop on when he's ready.
Oh, that was a good neck crack.
What was I going to say?
That was so nice.
Yeah, mine's probably different year to year because there are some years where I've listened to more rock, and then this past year definitely more rock than I had in previous years, and then country's always a big one too. So
really?
I gotta look at that. I'm very very interested to see where that.
Very gassy. I got a polar seltzer in me here. I'm just burping up a storm.
You want to get this started because we do have like our intro question.
Yeah, we'll get going here.
Okay, all right.
Like I said, crack the neck here. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another edition of the Change My Mind podcast. I am Wesley Sykes, and to the other side of the ether is the Jimmy Olsen, to my J. Jonah Jameson, Mr. Nicholas J. Esquire, professional scooper for hire.
I don't know if that is a title you want to give me necessarily. Maybe our guest when we welcome him on in a second, but not me.
Well, we're going to pretend to be a scooper here for today because this week we're going to be discussing and doing things a little differently here. We'll be welcoming back multiple-time returnee to the program, Casey Walsh, to give us a skinny on all things MCU related, and we'll also have, of course, Nick's Comic Book Minute and the Discharge Depot. And we'll also have a little bit of trending now and all that. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag Monday, if you will. But before we get into all of that, Nick, and perhaps we can even bring our guest on now if he's prepared to jump into the intro question here. We'll ask both of you this right off the spot. Welcome to the program, Editor-in-Chief of Geeks Worldwide, Casey Walsh. What is one thing you want for Christmas? But just one thing.
You know what? I feel old saying this, but I actually got this Christmas gift early. I wanted a laptop stand because Lauren, I'd never had one before. Lauren had one. I stole hers, using it for this show, for DraftKings shows, everything. And she ended up getting me one. I kind of might have guessed that she was getting me one a little early. She gave it to me. I'm already using it right now. I total game changer. So much, like, so helpful with my posture and everything like that. Did not see it coming. So I feel old saying it, but it's a great gift.
Wow, that is big news there. I'm surprised. And when you're thinking about your back and your lumbar support, I mean, nothing is more important than that. So you are getting old. You are, after all, in your 30s, so it's all downhill from here. Welcome to the club.
Thank you very much. And I know Casey's having a little bit of technical difficulties with his microphone right now because I'm trying to unmute him. But
yeah, what is he doing? Is he tubing it right now? What's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing, but he will be good to go in a second. I'm sure he'll let us know.
Yeah, I think one thing that I want, I don't know, it's a tough thing because I already made my request to the wife. So I think it's a nice, formal winter long coat thing going, a little dress coat action there. So I think that's what I'm getting. We're going very cheap with the wife this year because we just bought the house and whatnot, did the kitchen renovation. So putting a price limit on it. So I don't know. I always want like Hofstra merch or like something like that, or like a cool basketball jersey. I always like a throwback Larry Bird USA jersey. Like, I never asked for those type of things, Right.
I totally understand it. Well, because also you're an adult now, so like you can kind of buy those things. I know you don't want to necessarily, but you can buy those things for yourself. Speaking of being an adult, Wes.
Is it time for
Casey Walsh?
You bring him back in.
Yes. Are we good, Casey?
Yeah, sorry. I'm like, my phone was fucking up on my trying to go to my car and all this other shit, and then I couldn't hear you. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna back out of this bitch and try it again.
That works. I love it here. So you already sworn twice. So I reckon that you're on the naughty list. But what is one thing that you would like for Christmas, Casey?
Peace and quiet.
Oh, that's nice. Peace on Earth, right? Or a
no.
I think he's referring to Twitter. I think he's referring to Twitter.
No. I'm talking about my kids.
I thought he was saying he wants a piece of quiet, like he wants like a little bit of the action. Like I'm on behalf of loud, you would fight quiet.
No, my dream, my perfect Thanksgiving would be I want Home Alone Thanksgiving. I want my kids and my wife to just disappear. I want an entire house to myself for 2 days where I can just get super baked and watch fucking movies and eat terrible food and not have to listen to crying or drive to dance, which is why I'm sitting in the car right now.
That's what type of
fucking get a 4-year-old to do her ponytail. It's just my life is a literal nightmare every single day. One day of not being a nightmare would be nice. Just one.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Maybe we can make that happen for you here.
My wife was gone all weekend. I was alone home with 2 girls.
Oh, jeez.
So it's been fun. It's continued till today.
Nice. I'd love to hear. Let's get your mind off that for a moment, if you will. And let's talk about something that's in your wheelhouse here. Of course, we loved you about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months ago. I think if you want to go back in our archives, it's episode 142 when we first debuted the MCU rumor mill with the aforementioned Casey Walsh here. But since that time, we've had one Marvel movie. A slew of Marvel Disney Plus announcements here, some of which that you predicted right here on this program. But let's catch up in that time here, Casey. What did you think of Eternals? Where do you think we are right now with the current state of MCU movies post-Endgame?
I have not seen Eternals yet, so I don't
know.
Again,
what?
I have fucking kids, man. I'm gonna complain about my kids a lot, obviously, but
sure.
I got kids, so like going and doing anything like that is like that's an ordeal. That's like a babysitter. Like if the wife has to agree to it. Like there were a couple times where like, all right, we should go see a movie, and the wife was like, I've been like working all week. Like I don't want to go like be around I don't want to do that. So it's like it's a whole bunch of shit that has to happen. And like I used to get press screenings like down the street from me, so I could just like, I'm just gonna go to a press screening by myself. Fuck you guys. And then I had like an excuse because I wasn't spending money or anything, and I was like for quote unquote my job that I don't get paid for. So at least I had an excuse at that point. But now press screenings for me are like a 3-hour drive, so that's not happening. So
shit,
yeah,
really?
going to the movies is not conducive. So that's why I'm excited whenever they drop something on like Disney Plus early. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking go watch it. So last Marvel movie I saw that was new was Shang-Chi. I've watched it like 5 times because I think my wife is in love with Simu Liu. So that's been a fun adventure in my house.
So since you can't see Eternals, but either way, obviously you're plugged in and everything, and you have an idea, your finger on the pulse and what's going on, how things are going with people at Marvel and everything. When you look at how they're responding to, or everybody's response to the Eternals, like what do you think? How are things going in the talks with Marvel Studios going forward following that?
I mean, I don't know because I heard about Eternals and the plot like a year ago, so like I kind of knew that movie was going to be divisive. That they did have some issues with it. Like the filming it was challenging. That the post credit scene was something they added later in reshoots. They reshot Icarus's ending, so I think on Twitter I said that they had made it they made it more definitive that he died, but I hadn't seen the movie, so I don't know how they changed it. But I guess
it wasn't that definitive. I don't know. I thought they left it was a little gray area. I think you just kind of assumed.
So I think the original ending was much more like he was definitely alive still. So I think this way they said, nah, he's not coming back, but it's Marvel, who knows.
But with the Eternals, you can do whatever you want too. Reprogram and stuff and make them a new. It's because, like Wesley said, a bunch. They're AI.
Yeah, they're
so I don't want to get in a bunch of drama because I said some stuff about the lead actress that may or may not still be true, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything since then. But
Gemma Chan.
Yeah, like fuck.
I love Gemma Chan.
I have nothing against Gemma Chan. I have zero against Gemma Chan. I don't care. I have zero input. This is only what I heard from the source who's been my source on this shit from everything. They've been right about everything.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Wrong about this. So basically they said that maybe Kevin Feige and Gemma Chan didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that maybe they don't want her to come back. I don't know. So,
oh wow.
But that was during the filming. Like that was. I mean, this was again a year or two ago because that film got pushed back.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. So this was a long time ago.
Interesting here.
So that may have changed. They may have made up. Like a lot of things could have happened. Then I don't want to open that bag of worms because that just brought a ton of hate. Because then it came out that I was just Jim and Chan hating, which again doesn't. Like people hate him and Tobey Maguire to everyone. Everyone's like on this bandwagon. Like they all love Tobey Maguire all of a sudden. Especially all the people who are like, like abusive pricks in Hollywood, but are giving Tobey Maguire a pat on the back all of a sudden. Like, hey, everyone that's like in the Snyder crowd that's also a Tobey Maguire fan, like he was abusive prick too, and everyone fucking hated that asshole on set. So like you to come off here and be like, like we're standing for A is greater than E. Well, Tobey Maguire falls in the asshole pricks that nobody wanted to work with, and the people tried to pay Joe Manganiello to actually beat up on set multiple times crowd. So like let's remember who we're talking about here.
I knew people
the story.
I knew people like Tobey Maguire, but not that one.
The Cider House rules. If you break the Cider House rules, you're going to get into some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Manganiello said this too, so it's not like a big secret or anything. But yeah, he was so hated on that set that the crew members would pay Joe Manganiello to, like, that fight scene in the first one where they're like fighting, to actually hit him. Like, they were like, we'll give you $100 to punch him in the face.
Wow, that's interesting. I hear he's a pretty good poker player.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you've seen Molly's game, I think you can get an idea of his personality.
Okay. All right, I can see that here. Well, let's shift over to these Disney Plus shows, because again, like we said, the last time we had you on here, you were kind of pontificating on some of the things that might be coming out here. One of the things that we hit on was the X-Men animated series, right? You were right over the arrow with that one there. Disney, of course, announcing it days later. Any updates on that and on that front that you can share with us now that news is a little bit more public?
No updates. Again, I got the production date wrong because I thought it was starting production in 2023. It's actually coming out in 2023. So that was an error on my part. Again, I'm getting like secondhand information from.
How dare you? How dare you?
That was on the earlier. That's a good thing to be wrong, though.
Yeah.
So other than that, I have nothing new on that. I mean, it's great that they're bringing the original cast back. I'm going to get all the stuff that I kind of speculated was happening, but just never got a firm idea from. Like, I remember the information I got was from a guy in a production meeting who said, "Hey, we're working on this." So no real. So I mean, it's good to hear that got confirmed. Looks like Shang-Chi is something else. Shang-Chi 2, which is something else. Shang-Chi 2, something else I reported on, got confirmed today.
Yeah,
I don't know if we talked about it on here, but I was in a report for Thunderbolt, so I said that was going to start shooting in 2023. It sounds like if they're writing it now, it sounds right on track for 2023.
I love that. And then the other Disney Plus show, right? It's the 10 Rings, right? Is with Xi Ling.
I think that was teased in Shang-Chi. I don't know if I don't remember reporting on it, but there's a Okoye series that's definitely coming that has been already announced, and that's scheduled to start production in 2023 as well. And that will follow the events of Black Panther 2.
Okay.
What happened to her in that movie?
You mentioned the Shang-Chi stuff that we just got from Deadline. Of course, you shared, from Geeks Worldwide, you had reported on that previously that there was a sequel. Is there anything else that you know about it, given you were so far ahead of this one?
No. I mean, again, the stuff that information is so they don't have a script yet, right? So like. All that we know is what we know in the post-credit scene, right? So there's a beacon coming from the rings. It's going out to whoever. We can all kind of assume who that person is. If you look at the rings, I feel like no one brought this up, and the movie's been out for like 2 years or a year and a half already. But the rings, like, they may be like armbands for like me or you. I don't know if I talked about this last time I was on here. They may be armbands for someone like me or you, right? But like, if I were like a giant dragon or something. Like,
right, maybe it would be the rings. I remember you saying this. Yeah. Maybe they're like cool toe rings.
So, so maybe that's my idea. Is maybe they're actually are rings for a giant being, and that's what they're kind of. And they go down in size too. Right, when he wears them on his arm, they're all kind of different sizes. So, and even too, no one brought this up as well, but like you can see in the movie. I've seen the movie 5 times, so I've like studied it at this point. You can see in the movie that the rings like emit different energies. So like, there's like a purple energy when he's using like a force type of push or whatever, and there's like
almost like he has like a lightning bolt.
Yeah, he has like a lightning bolt energy, right? And then when he's fighting Simu Liu, and then when Simu Liu gets him, there's like a fire energy around it. So obviously the rings have different abilities, and maybe those get more unlocked as their original owner returns. Just an idea.
I could see that.
Not that I know anything for sure.
No, I like where you're going with this, though. But you also had an interesting tweet, kind of a maybe a little mysterious tweet over the weekend here. When you were finding out a little bit news about movies like Guardians 3, Thor 4, Disney Plus shows like Moon Knight, they're going to be wild, is what you said. But there are a lot of plot points, if I'm not mistaken. But what can you give us?
Yeah, so how spoilery do we want to get here? Do we want to get spoilery? How spoilery do you want to get?
I'm a spoiler-filled person.
Well, yeah, I'd say, you use your discretion, Casey. I know I'm usually one who's anti-spoiler, but if you got something.
So the biggest spoiler, I'm not going to spoil it, but one of the biggest things I heard is, I'm going to I'm dance around this, so maybe people will get it, because I did hint at it on Twitter, but people were way off. So I will say, a character is returning to a coming up film, a film that's pretty much done shooting almost done shooting at this point. A character is returning to be someone else's spirit guide. So a popular character is returning to be someone else's spirit guide in an upcoming film. Think you can put the 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
Who would require a spirit guide? And what movie? I feel bad because the movie I'm talking about has been spoiled so bad already.
So it's Black Panther, right? Is this what we're talking about?
I'm not saying anything. Will you can make those assumptions on your own.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Wes, but
I think that's what we would think, right? And we'll be bringing back a villain of sorts, right? That everyone kind of likes.
He's definitely not a nice man. I will say that. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that there. So the question that we were going to have for that is, can we take a couple stabs at it? But I guess we don't really need that many stabs. But I think we know where we're going there, which is very interesting, because I think everything that we've heard about Black Panther coming out with the potential, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but the potential casting of Namor, and then all the other taking up of the Black Mantle information. This seems like it's going to be a really interesting movie here.
Yeah, Namor is definitely in it. Namor is definitely the bad guy. It is definitely how can I describe it? The plot is very like Atlantis is mad at the world. They go to Wakanda and be like, "Hey, look at fuck these guys! Like, what they're doing? They're fucked up. Like, they're tearing apart the planet. Like, they're horrible." And Wakanda's like, "Nah, they're cool. Like, they're our friends." And then like Namor's like, "Man, fuck you!" And then like basically Namor against Wakanda at this point. And then there's a little girl involved who's at the very center of the plot. And I guess you can guess who that is if you've seen the casting rumors going around, or the casting or the set pics. And she's very crucial to the plot. Like, basically she creates a device that like is able to find what's the metal? I'm blanking now. Vibranium.
Yeah.
Right. So it's gonna set up Riri, and it's gonna set up her inclusion in the MCU and how smart she is, and then her Ironheart show and all that stuff. Yeah, it's gonna lead into Okoye, and you're gonna get a new Black Panther. It's a very like big, ambitious, like crazy movie, and I kind of feel bad that they had to like deal with the Chadwick Boseman situation on top of it, because
right, that's a lot you have to carry.
Continue.
But okay, so this sounds like something that like on the ground here. But when we talk about the cosmic stuff that we're going to be going towards with Guardians 3, Thor 4, what are some of the things that we can expect there? Because again, I think we kind of forget that Thor 4 is in the pipeline here, that we've heard so much about Doctor Strange and this type of mini trilogy that's kind of unfolding before us right now.
Right. So Thor is basically very basic plot points, nothing crazy, but the hammer that Jane gets is the rebuilt hammer from the one that's destroyed. So basically, I don't know if you guys saw around, like there were set pics of her like in that same field or whatever, like in the beginning of
New Mexico.
Thor, yeah. Was it New Mexico? I think they're supposed to be in like the Netherlands or something, right? Wherever New Asgard is.
My mistake. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So she's at that cliff area, and yeah, basically the hammer is like calling to her, and it like reassembles itself for her, and that's how she becomes like the Jane Foster Thor. And then Gore, the God Butcher, who's like the villain, he's like going around killing gods. So he's like killing like I don't know, I'm just gonna say gods. I don't know if these are the ones he's specifically killing, but he's killing.
Dare you say like he's butchering them?
Yeah, he's butchering. Dare I say he's butchering? Yeah, like so he's like going after all kinds of gods. So he's going after like Egypt, like Indian gods and Greek gods, and like he's not just like so. Then he kind of sets his sight on Asgard next, and Thor's like, oh fuck, and he's like playing around in space with the Guardians, and so he has to go home and like face Gore, the God Butcher. That's all I got for that. So basic plot.
Okay.
The big stuff I got was the biggest thing I found the most interesting was for She-Hulk.
Really?
So what I heard about She-Hulk is it is a straight like hard comedy. Like they're going straight sitcom with it. It's more
sitcom than WandaVision.
Way more. Like it is a like NBC like sitcom. I don't know if there'd be a laugh track, but there might. So she talks directly to Kevin Feige. So she turns to like she does the fourth wall breaking, but when she talks, she's talking directly like Kevin. So she looks like talk to Kevin like, oh Kevin, like this is what, or hey Kevin, like, or Kevin, what are you thinking here?
Interesting.
Like
Okay.
Wow.
A lot of cameos. The biggest one, and again, I don't think this is spoiling anything if you guys have been out on the internet, but Daredevil is definitely showing up. in costume, in the yellow digs.
Yeah,
Yellow
I've heard that
digs.
the yellow
Okay.
digs.
I heard the yellow digs.
Nice.
So that'll be nice. But the biggest thing I thought was like the weirdest, and I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a comedy. Is so the villain is definitely Titania, right? So the thing is that she's like a exercise like guru, but like on like the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
Things aren't working out. So she goes and sees a life coach, and this life coach happens to be Blonsky.
Oh.
So Abomination. So Abomination somehow gets a hold of She-Hulk's blood, and he's passing it out as like the cure-all to like your life problems.
Oh, no kidding. See, that's it. Okay, I'm in on this now. I kind of like this.
Wow, this is
how you set up all the Hulks for what's next, right?
Right.
So he's handing out this shit like candy, right? So he's creating Titania. He's giving it to some kid, and he's creating Scar. He's giving it to Ross, and he's creating Red Hulk. He's giving it to a bunch of fucking loser dudes on a construction site, and he's creating the Wrecking Crew. Like so like all these characters are supposed to pop up. This is gonna be like, I was told this is gonna be like all the Hulks are showing up in this thing. Yeah, and then when this is over, you're setting up the place for World War Hulks, where they can all kind of like, where basically Banner and Jen are like, what the fuck? We gotta fucking bring this back down to earth here. Like,
which you wrote previously, of course, as well too.
100 Hulks running around.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So that's kind of the impetus of that.
Wow.
So yeah, but again, it's supposed to be funny. I expect more cameos.
I am all here for that. I love that. And bring in all the different Hulks, bring in all the CGI. Here I was worried about that they couldn't have Ruffalo be Professor Hulk because it would be too much money. And then here you're telling me that they're bringing in all the Hulks.
Yeah, shit.
I love it. I'm on board.
Hulk, I think Banner does go back down. So like there's some kind of like agreement there where they like he's able to return to himself. But yeah, you're basically replacing Banner with everybody else.
Okay.
They're all CGI. What the main character is CGI for most of the series. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be super fun. On the other end of that, go ahead.
Well, we all know Jessica Walters is a little on the sexy side, right? So are we seeing any Hulk sex scenes in the Disney Plus show here? She's a real leggy blonde.
I highly doubt.
Okay, all right. I just had to ask. That was a question from one of our listeners here. That wasn't from me. I just wanted to.
Oh,
Sure.
So actually, speaking of all the Disney Plus stuff, though, Casey, did you have something else that you wanted to add?
I was going to go into the next Disney Plus thing.
Yeah, please go right ahead.
So Moon Knight. So on the other end of the spectrum, Moon Knight is going to be like this dark, like violent, hyper-violent series where basically Mark Spector and I forget how to pronounce the Egyptian god. Is it Kanosh?
I would say Khonshu, but there's
Khonshu?
There's an end right after it, so I don't know.
Yeah, so him and Khonshu basically. And again, this is part of the series. Is like is this real or is he going insane? But him and Khonshu are basically going around and taking out other people who have been inhabited by Egyptian gods.
Nice.
So that meaning the main villain is going to be Sun King, who is more than likely Ethan Hawke.
Which I saw. Okay, so the casting makes sense, and I saw you tweet that one of the things you tweeted out, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, Sun King is not somebody we like. This character has not been around long. I think he just popped up in like that 2017, 2018 arc where I think that was where we first met him, and I'm curious, like off of that. Can we expect? I know we've seen like newer Marvel characters, right? Like Kate Bishop, I think, was introduced in like 2005 or something like that. But someone that's introduced in 2017, 2018, can we expect more of that? Because when I see Sun King getting introduced, I'm thinking, okay, Null, the symbiote god and everything. Could we?
Well, I mean, look at Hawkeye, right? Like Tracksuit Mafia. I mean, that was a Matt Fraction thing, right? So
that's true. Yep.
That's relatively new,
right?
It's well within our comic book lifetime, 10 or 15 years now. But I mean, it's relatively new. Now I could be fucking wrong. My source could be wrong completely on this, but again, it makes sense when you consider who Ethan is cast, the set picks we've seen, the plot around the idea that you're going to introduce this character who is inhabited by an Egyptian god, and what better way to explain that than have him hunting a bunch of people who have the same ailment that he does, right? Like when you're introducing things like Werewolf by Night and Dracula, like what does that have to do with any of this? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Doesn't really fall. And then Moon Knight's not known for having his like rogues gallery. You know what I mean? He's like a mercenary. Like he's fighting up like thugs and things. So yeah, I think you're gonna have to kind of go with what you got there. I mean, same thing with Ms. Marvel too, right? Like, I mean, relatively new character. The clandestine are supposed to be the villains of her show. Relatively new villains. So I mean, yeah, I think they're gonna just reach for whatever they got that works.
So that does make sense. And when you talk about Ethan Hawke too, the casting for that character, total, like as soon as you said it, boom, make perfect sense. Now the last thing I want to ask about Moon Knight though is you talk about it being hyper violent, and of course that's what I want from Moon Knight. 100%. We need him to just go absolutely nuts. I want to see him ape shit like he has been in the past. When you say hyper violent though, are we talking like the most violent MCU related thing that we've seen to this point, or like not quite there?
I mean, I was told that there was blood.
Okay.
Like they would be showing blood.
Okay. Disney does blood. I like that.
Okay. That definitely. Okay.
So I definitely think it's going to be the most brutal. Because I think even with things like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like yeah, those things hit. Like I would imagine it's going to be very much on the same line as the John Walker episode where he decapitated that guy. You know what I mean? Like I think that's about as like, you know what I mean? That's I don't think he's going to go around decapitating people, but like he's, you know, I mean, Mark Spector's not a guy to shy away from beating you to a wheel.
We can't rule out decapitation though. That's good.
That works.
I like that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so
and again, I think we see that in the trailer, right? We see him in the bathroom. Everything is shattered. There's blood on the wall, and he's just pounding that guy's face in. So.
Now I want to shift over. We got a little movie poster action recently with Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. We also found out today about MODOK's involvement to some degree here. So do you know anything about MODOK's involvement and how they pull that off?
So we've known MODOK. I guess we've known. MODOK has been in an early draft of Ant-Man 3 since Paul Rudd wrote the script, and we actually reported that on our site. So it's nice to see that carried over. What's also interesting is that script also contained like the Young Avengers. So we'll see if that carries over as well, with them introducing Cassie Lang, and we have Kate and Kamala's on the horizon. So I mean, you definitely have the pieces there for
the whole team there. Yeah,
right. I don't know if they're doing that though, because that would have required Kamala's actress to be filming during Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think she was already on set with the Marvels at that point. So I don't know if we're getting that, but maybe you get like little mini like tease at Young Avengers and that thing. MODOK. I don't know anything about MODOK. The prevailing rumor that I heard, and that this person was in talks for a role. Don't know. We will never know if it panned out until someone officially reports it. Is Jim Carrey.
Right.
That was like the kind of
that would be him
rumor.
with that role though.
I mean, I don't. That was the rumor. Is that if that was the role that he would be gunning for, or that he was offered. Now, I think the people who reported on the MODOK officially being in the Ant-Man movie said it wasn't Jim Carrey, but then they didn't say who it was. So, like, if you're not going to say who it's not, then you better have a good idea who it is. I don't think, you know what I mean? Now, they already filled that stuff.
This just might be your opinion. You may not have any information on this, but how do they do MODOK? Because that's obviously such a weird character. Is it CGI? Is it something they do kind of like Aram Zola, where it's a little bit more tactical and practical?
I have no idea. I mean, there was concept art floating around because again, it's something they've been trying to put in Ant-Man movies for I think since almost the first one. But yeah, it seemed like a very straight adaptation, like giant head, little legs on a floaty thing. Now there's also Bill Murray supposed to be in this movie.
That was my next question. Yeah.
So could it be like a voice thing, and could it be Bill Murray? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think you get Bill Murray for more than one movie. You're lucky if you get him for one. So,
well, the rumor that I thought was interesting was that it was Scott Lang's father, which I would love to see that dynamic.
Yeah, that'd be weird. I mean, yeah, it's not something that they would shy away from, right? I mean, I guess we haven't really heard about Lang's relationships outside of his immediate ones.
Yeah, right.
So, but I mean, also that movie is about Kang taking over the quantum realm. You know what I mean? So like, so he can travel through time. So Like how big? Like that movie's got to be gigantic. Like what are they doing? This movie sounds gigantic. And how are you gonna?
Well, maybe that's it. He
Kang
goes back in
MODOK?
time to see his father, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe stop
Yeah,
along
maybe.
the way.
I don't know. The only information I have with Ant-Man 3 is that Kang, Kang's goal is to take over the quantum realm and then kind of rule it so he can begin his like time, like his time.
Oh, so that's interesting. So that theory that was going around that he was in that city, that was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? That Janet Van Dyne was coming out of, and everyone's like, if you look in the background of the quantum realm, there's a city, and that's Kang's fortress from the comic books. So that's not necessarily the case. If we're going off this theory, yeah.
I mean, again, it was just a very like. The plot is his goal is to take over the quantum realm, and they're there to stop.
Okay,
and,
I like that.
And
Nice.
so I assume, that the reason he would want to take over the quantum realm is so he can have easy access to time travel.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah. Okay. All right.
What else was there? I think that's pretty much it.
Hey, Fryer, you got anything?
Oh, well,
Nick?
I was just gonna, I think Wes, we were hoping if there's anything else, Casey, that you had that, maybe you haven't floated around yet, that you've been sitting on, it is the holiday season, in a giving mood. If you have anything else that you wanted to tease, like you did with the X-Men stuff last time with us.
Give us something good.
I could tell you the end of Peacemaker.
Wes, okay.
Yeah, hey, go with it. I want clicks. I want clicks for Christmas.
Yeah, I'll take my headphones off. You said it for a second.
Leads into either the next Suicide Squad movie, so like Waller versus the Suicide Squad, or it leads into Peacemaker 2, which would be Waller versus Peacemaker. Essentially, what happens is Waller's found out, and she's in trouble.
Oh, good.
And she needs to figure out how to get out of this mess. And what's the best way to get out of a mess for Amanda Waller? Kill all the witnesses.
Yeah. So she's gonna try and kill the Suicide Squad.
That's kind of how. Well, imagine what the next phase of that would be, right? So what would she need to do? She would need to hire an assassin, and then who do you have left alive? You got Will Smith, you got Harley, you got Shark guy.
Yeah, King Shark.
Ratcatcher, Peacemaker, Bloodsport. I'm sure there's one or two left from the first movie, right?
So how do you get all those?
Yeah, so how can you do a movie where all right, we're gonna bring all the people back from the first two movies and make it still relevant and have it all around the thing? Oh, Waller's in trouble. She's gotta go kill everybody that was a witness to what she did.
Okay, I can see that. Although I hated Amanda Waller in the Suicide Squad reboot. Way over the top. Very unnecessary.
Oh, did he take his headphones off? So we didn't.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I heard a little bit. I heard some Amanda Waller talk, which I know Wesley he can't stand her. So
not a big fan.
But
that's interesting stuff, though. I like that. That's a good little nugget. Nick got didn't get the present there, so that's
okay. It's okay. But our listeners, if they wanted to hear it, got the present because obviously Wes is a big fan of spoilers, and of course some of our listeners, I would imagine, are as well. So Casey, we really appreciate it as always, man. We got you through most of dance practice or whatever you call it.
You did. Yeah. It's true. I don't think I have one last thing. I did hear. Again, this is a thing that's been floating around, but the villain of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the High Evolutionary.
The High Evolutionary? So that was... Who is that then? Who?
I believe in the comics, he is the one who created Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, okay. I feel like I've heard that name floated around. Maybe not in the movies as much or at all before, but I don't know. I feel like I've heard that.
I know
before.
he does. He's like one of those I'm gonna experiment on beings guys.
Okay.
Makes weird shit. I don't know if he is if it was retroactively that he created Rocket Raccoon, but essentially the idea in the movie is that he's gonna be the one who created Rocket. So we'll see that.
Some involvement with Adam Warlock, I hope.
I was just told Adam joins the Guardians. So my guess, and I actually think this is just a wild theory, that Adam shows up first in the Christmas special.
Oh.
Because what better way to introduce Space Jesus than in your Christmas fucking movie?
Oh, jeez.
That's a blasphemous way to do that. That's
Wow.
certainly one way.
Wow.
So I definitely think that seems like definitely James Gunn's style, and he said it was like one of his favorite characters, or one of his favorite characters was showing up. So it was either that or Santa Claus. So
and Silver Surfer, right? Is that another rumor that we're getting in that movie?
I have not heard anything about Silver Surfer. I haven't.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay. Well, one last thing, real quick. Have you heard any rumblings about who they are eyeing at all for any X-Men stuff, or are we too far away from that?
No, I think it's way too far away for that.
Okay. All right. I needed to know.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do Fantastic Four first.
Have you heard anything on that then?
Just that they're supposed to start shooting in 2023.
Okay. Okay. Which you did have.
Which makes sense because Watts has a movie he's doing in between, I think.
Okay.
And I assume that they're already like hashing out the script and getting casting ready probably anytime. I would not be surprised if if Spider-Man ended with a Fantastic Four tease of some kind.
Oh, I like that. Leave us on a nice teaser there.
I don't know if that's the case. I know one of the post-credit scenes, I know what one of them is or was rumored to be or was at testing. I don't know if they've added another one. The second one, the first one I know about has nothing to do with Fantastic Four and is actually more closely related. If you saw Venom, it has something to do with that.
Nice.
And I don't know if there's a second one. But there is they have decided who bought Fist Tower or Avengers Tower. No. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. Okay, so prevailing theory going around, right? So maybe Fisk is the one who bought the tower. Because in Hawkeye, he wants a watch that was taken from the tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this watch unlocks something in the tower that he wants to get access to. Maybe it unlocks like secret files or a secret suit or additional armors. Like I think there's a reason that watch has something into play and a reason Fisk wants it. And if anyone could afford Fisk Tower, or goddamn, I was doing it automatically now. Avengers Tower would be someone like Fisk. I don't think it's gonna be Norman. I don't think it's gonna be Oscorp. I don't think it's gonna be Fantastic Four because number one, they don't buy the Fantastic Four doesn't own
right.
It's a Baxter building, so why would they buy it? That makes no sense. So unless they're like, oh, so Baxter or so and so bought it, okay, then I guess that's a start. But I think that there's a larger implication that maybe a villain bought that tower.
Okay.
I like that. And you mentioned armor at the end of it here. Maybe that's something that goes off of Armor Wars. I don't know. Maybe
Fisk finds the armor or gets access to Stark information or technology, and that's how we kick off Armor Wars. And all this shit one thing leads into another. All these shows lead into each other in some form or way, right? So I definitely could see that happening.
Man, a lot of nuggets today.
I love it. A lot of nuggets. And the country was telling us we're on a chicken nugget shortage, but Casey Walsh never short of any nuggets. He's always got them there.
Don't tell my 4-year-old.
Thanks, Casey. Really appreciate it, brother.
We hope your week gets a little bit better here.
I hope so. I didn't have COVID. I had to do the COVID test today because I was sick. And I was like, oh, shit, I have COVID.
Okay. Well, there we go.
I was negative.
So he's on the up and up.
That's good. Now you got to stay positive for the rest of the week, okay?
Oh, there he goes, Nick. There we go.
We'll talk to you later, brother. Thanks again, Casey.
All right. Late.
All right. And, of course, you guys can follow Casey on Twitter at The Comics Kid. That's COMIX Kid. But, yeah, Wes, holy shit.
A lot of stuff to unpack there, particularly when we're talking about in terms of Thor 4, Guardians 3, which I thought was very interesting.
Yep.
Huge little slip up there. I'm not even sure if that was necessary at the end there, but finding out maybe potentially who indeed bought the Avengers Tower.
Yeah, that was. And if you think that wasn't deliberate, come on now. But I tell you what, Wes, even the stuff that Casey's kind of speculating on, look, the stuff he's reporting, I trust, 100%. We know we're getting stuff he's getting stuff from a reliable source, and Casey is right the majority of the time. When it comes to the stuff that he's speculating on, which of course he makes it clear, I do trust how, he has a source. He kind of knows how Marvel thinks and how to connect the dots a little bit. I'm not going to go and say that that's 100% success rate, but I do think, when we try and read the tea leaves and whatnot, those are the things from him. I'm like, okay, where some people maybe I wouldn't necessarily buy that speculation. With him, it's okay, there's a chance or something along these lines because Casey's in the know.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think he has a good line of thinking, and he knows again how to read the tea leaves. I like that phrase a lot. Let's stay with that little nugget that he left us on with the watch little nugget about Kingpin and potentially buying Avengers Tower. Let's go to the Hawkeye episode 3, season 1 update. Now you're all up to date on that. As we get to trending now, a little bit of a different format here today.
Yes, slightly different today. And yes, I am all up to date on Hawkeye. And you asked me about how I feel about the way that they're approaching Hawkeye and everything. And it's been great. I mean, honestly, it gets so meta and everything. And I'm talking about the branding for Hawkeye. And obviously we see Hawkeye's old outfit. We kind of see what direction it's going to go in with like the images around the show, but I really love how they're taking pokes at the old comic stuff. We've talked about that before. But yeah, we hear the biggest thing was, and for those who haven't watched Hawkeye episode 3 yet, spoiler, but we see a hand, what was it? Echo's uncle, his hand, and we hear like a little, was it like a chuckle? I believe it was. Something.
Those fat sausage fingers.
Clearly, Vincent D'Onofrio. Everybody knows it. So to hear this kind of thing from Casey, the watch thing, I would think it's got to be a suit-related sort of thing. No.
See, so on my other podcast, Hawkeyes on Hawkeyes with Goo, we were wondering if the watch was Stark's watch from Avengers Civil War or Captain America Civil War, where he kind of turns into the blaster, the phase blaster. But that doesn't. It looks more nondescript than that. So I think it's kind of on the lines of what Casey was saying, that maybe it's going to something that we don't necessarily know about. It's not a watch that we've been previously introduced to.
Okay, I can, yeah. Honestly, I trust Casey's speculation a little bit more just because he's in the know on these kind of things. Yeah. But it's been, I'll tell you what, man, this Hawkeye show, you were saying, and I think Goo was excited about it too, coming in. Like this had a lot of potential for them to just get weird and have a fun time and everything.
Yeah, low stakes, crazy, fun hijinks, Christmas holiday spirit out the wazoo. Ends on a cliffhanger almost every episode, or just kind of abruptly ends. And this one I think is kind of interesting, where you have Jack Duquesne holding the Ronin sword up to Clint's neck, and we get that introduction, or what I think will be a reintroduction of Jack Duquesne and Clint Barton. I think throughout the blip, they're going to tie in that relationship that they have throughout the comic books, as maybe Jack Duquesne teaching Hawkeye how to use a blade. That's what I think.
That makes a lot of sense. I really like that logic, and giving us all the the Ronin content that you can is a win, because we all we saw Hawkeye turn into this badass.
But we didn't see how, though.
Exactly, we didn't see how, and we only saw like one scene of him kind of going off. Now we're getting to see a little bit more and more each episode, and I would love to see some more of that. And you say like cliffhangers and or like abruptly. I think this one's a little bit more abruptly, as much as it's kind of a cliffhanger, but like Hawkeye's not going to go and die in this instance.
No, he plays it cool. He's calm, cool, and collected.
Right, but I think that's a great theory, Wes. What I also wanted to ask you about was, given that we got that little tease for Fisk and we know the relationship between Fisk and Echo, do you think that we're going to see Fisk like at the very end of the season, or we'll see him maybe next episode? Because I get the impression that like it's going to be like the last thing that we see, like Wilson Fisk show up.
So it's interesting. So I saw I think it's MCU at MCU_direct.
Yep.
I think that's the Twitter handle there. It said that episode 5 is going to blow people away. It was going to be crazy or something along that side. So maybe that's what it is. We're supposed to be getting Yelena Belova in this as well. So whether she gets the introduction in 4, 5, and 6, I feel like Goose said this as well, and I'm kind of in agreement if this was him who said this, but introduce Fisk at episode 5 and have him go 5 and 6, or have him come in at the very end. That give me a lot of Fisk through the last back half of the series, or just tease him at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I think either way is fine. I think if I had to vote, I would probably go
more of them. I just don't want like a little bit of an introduction, but just like give that reveal at the end of him like picking up the watch.
Very
now I come back to my home and it's like Avengers Tower.
Yeah, and I think it seems the way they're going, like they're carefully trying, like they're not going to introduce him right away. They've let us know. Obviously, they know Marvel fans are going to figure this stuff out with all the rumors and just hearing Vincent D'Onofrio's voice, knowing Echo and everything. So I really like what they've done with the show, and I don't know where I'm going to give it for a grade, but it's definitely it's trending in the right direction. That's for sure. It's going to take a lot to do, but I think I gave WandaVision the best grade of the 3 MCU shows we've got, not counting What If. Right. But it's trending to rival that for sure.
What I like of what this show has done better than the other all the other Disney Plus shows is the steady beat, the steady rhythm of the show. We haven't gotten too high of a high, we haven't gotten too low of a low. We've just been going right along with the ride, and every episode has kind of been right within itself, if that makes sense. Where I feel like WandaVision had that episode 4, episode 6 really highs, but they also had some of the lows of like the first 2 episodes. Same thing with Loki. Loki had a couple of low points in there, especially more so from your memories, I think.
Yep.
Then some definite obvious high points in the end, and it's more of that dip and that dive. But this just feels like it's more of like a steady Eddie type of
for
show.
sure. The only criticism that I have of Hawkeye so far is I believe it was the car chase was episode 3, right? Not episode 2. That was this last week's episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
The arrows.
Now that was all fun and everything, but there was a moment where we see Kate Bishop, like she's a lefty, right? We see her turned one way, but then we also see her on a shot like quickly turned as if she's shooting from her right side. That's like it's just an error on their part. But like, it's MCU, it's Marvel and all that kind of stuff. That just
that seems probably more like a technical thing, right?
Yes.
Than like an editing thing. Right?
Yes, it seems like a nitpicky thing on my part, sure, whatever, but it's just one thing that they got wrong. But I'm surprised.
I'm surprised you picked that up. I didn't notice that. That's
normally not
sharp
something that I notice. But anyways, we got a couple other Marvel related things too from the news. But Kevin Feige, of course, confirmed Charlie Cox will play Daredevil in the MCU when we first see him, which we
figured we knew this, right? But the confirmation is nice.
Okay, so the confirmation is nice. Okay, because I was like, well, I mean, we also had the benefit of having Casey tell us that Daredevil's going to be here. It's going to be Charlie Cox. The rumors have been circulating for a while. All these other rumors surrounding Spider-Man have been coming true. I was kind of like, you don't need to confirm it. Like, it's fine. But so you're glad we got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think they have to do something to acknowledge it, and then again to promote, the obvious questions of getting Vincent D'Onofrio in here, Echo in here, and there's going to be so many ties into the connection to Daredevil, obviously with She-Hulk coming up, of course, as well too. There's going to be the questions of where Daredevil's going to be, and is it going to be Charlie Cox? Like it's like this thing is almost like a mini Snyder Cut movement. To a far lesser degree, but that movement to get Charlie Cox's Daredevil back into the MCU and Vincent D'Onofrio to a lesser extent, that was a pretty strong, internet movement.
The D'Onofrio one was especially, felt like even more so than Charlie Cox, because D'Onofrio was so involved in it. But I'm curious. So we've talked before about like you've expressed like concern about Marvel fatigue, right? More so after Eternals and everything, like the recent stuff as opposed to came up again in Endgame. But I'm curious now that we're starting to see the success of Hawkeye. We're going to be seeing Daredevil. Kingpin, was like right there. Echo seems like a very promising character who's going to get.
See, I'm not really interested. That's like the low point. Like, I'm not really moved by Echo's story at all. Like, it seems very formulaic.
Gotcha. Okay, so
like she's the bad. Like, I feel like this is what's going to happen. Like, she's a bad guy, quote unquote, who we know is already going to get her own show. So she's mad at the protagonist of this show. Right, because she thinks that the protagonist killed her father. But then I think we're just going to find out that there was an even bigger villain who was above them, who maybe he's like, oh, that's the error of my ways, and now we're both going to team up and take down this big bad guy. Now I'm going to be a kind of good guy.
Okay,
and that's kind of what maybe I'm wrong then, but if that's the case, then all right, then
you're not really interested in Echo. Okay,
I already know it then if that's the case, right?
Okay, so then. Outside of that, though, it sounds like just hearing you talk about it, it sounds like you feel a little bit better about the way things are going, at least on the street level Marvel stuff.
Yeah, the street level stuff I'm here for. Again, I'm starting to like lose me a little bit with the mystic, less so the mystic, but the cosmic.
The cosmics, yeah, of course, yeah, the cosmics tough. I think it's just tough in general. But then we talk about Mystic too. We're talking about multiverse, and then you have the Spider-Verse stuff now, which I can't help but wonder: are we going to see somebody like? Are they going to bring in Miles through this at some point? We're going to get a part 1 and part 2 of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, I'm sure you love the trailer, but what do you think about this being split up into 2?
That's cool. That's nice. I wonder how far apart that is. So we know we're getting part 1. When does part 2 come out? I guess that's the obvious question. I always think of it as it's like that. Is it like an Endgame situation, or I don't know, like Harry Potter situation where they're all shot in one thing and then they're just released 6 months apart? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
where it's all shot together. So like I would prefer that if that's the case, especially if you're announcing it as part 1.
And
if it tells me that's not the case, animation looks great. We're getting Spider-Man 2099.
Oh,
we get Haley Steinfeld coming back as Spider-Gwen. So I'm all for that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I could not be more. I mean, look, this was one of the best comic book movies we've gotten ever. So the expectations are sky high, but I see no reason why they can't meet them. And the animation is revolutionary. We talk about all these different things where it's like changing the game and whatever, but the animation they use in this, and I don't know that you can necessarily use it in every comic book movie with every character, but this is absolutely one where like they hit a home run with it, and stuff that I'd love to see.
Yeah, I don't think you could do, because then it would just be like copying at that point. This is unique to the Spider-Verse, and anything doing it after that would just feel like a cheap ripoff or like a cheap imitation of that. Like, you'd be more creative. I know Hollywood isn't very creative these days.
Well, that's why we're getting our first ever real Tiger King spinoff on Netflix, which, Wes, you asked for more Doc Antle content. Antle. We found out.
Is this the first spinoff? I feel like they've done a lot of stuff with this.
Well, I mean, they got the sequel to the docuseries, right? That's not a spinoff. It's still all Joe Exotic stuff and Carol Baskin. We got the interviews with everybody, which
after shows,
yeah. I mean, like that's still part of that first season technically. This is like we're now zooming in on somebody like adjacent to I feel like it's a spinoff adjacent to Joe Exotic, and it's like it is solely focused on Antle. God, if I can get his name right. But either way, you asked for more Doc Antle stuff from the Tiger King season 2. Are you going to watch this?
No, I'm just out on the Tiger. I'm not going to go back and watch it. I gave it a not applicable for this. I'm just kind of out on Tiger King all in general. The boat has left on that, and no, I'm done with these people. I'm done glorifying these awful people.
Okay,
move on with my life.
I'm not a reality TV person, and I do enjoy documentaries, not necessarily as much as you do. But this is obviously that the marriage of the two. But I'm in on this. Like this is one of those things I'm committed to. I definitely want to see more on Antle.
Spoiler alert! I have of my Discharge Depot here, but I have far more important things to watch with my time, my precious time, like discovering where the lost city of Atlantis is currently. That's the kind of stuff that I'm dealing with. So I can't be bothered with someone like Doc Ankle Bracelet. How do you like that?
Yeah, look at that.
He got raided by the feds.
I need to know more. I know we're going to go to the comic book minute next, but I'm not forgetting this Atlantis.
Oh, I won't either.
Okay, all right. So quickly going through the comic book minute. From DC, we have Dark Knights of Steel issue 2. The first issue was outstanding. From Boom Studios, we have Buffy, the Last Vampire Slayer issue 1. So this is like old lady Buffy, kind of like old man Logan. We've seen this for the characters.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, very excited for this. I don't read the Buffy comics, but Joe and I are absolutely in on this.
Still a dime?
I don't think so necessarily, but we'll find out. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe if you're into that sort of thing.
Maybe a couple of nickels.
We got Nita Hawes' Nightmare blog issue 2 from Rodney Barnes coming out from Image. Of course, we've had Rodney on a few times.
Of course.
Waiting for that Philadelphia show. It's coming down the line. And then speaking of all the Daredevil stuff, the start of the big Daredevil event, Devil's Reign issue 1 is out this week. We had Chip Zdarsky on a while back on TLDR. Talk to him about that, among other things. So go back and listen to that while you read this, but before you read it, whatever. And then we also got Captain America Iron Man issue 1, which I had very low expectations for. Solid, I would say. And that's part of why I asked Casey about like really new characters getting from the comics getting introduced to the MCU is because Null, who I mentioned from King in Black, which is a symbiote guy, and then a character in this series who was also in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series leading up to that show. So she's kind of like got Harley Quinn vibes, not
okay,
but different. But she has similar like appearance and everything. So that's what I was wondering: are we gonna get a lot? Like, are we gonna see her soon? But we'll see. As for TLDR this week, Doc's doing Dune House of Trees, of course, very timely. They just finished up in our defense. American Vampire 1976. And then next week, we're doing the TLDR comic book gift guide. So make sure you guys keep your eye out for that. Yes.
I like that. That's a great idea, Nick.
Did
you guys do this last year?
We did not. Nope.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome idea.
We will have the annual at the end of the month, and we will have the gift guide right smack dab in the middle, just so you guys can do some last minute Christmas shopping.
Beautiful.
But it is now time for us to turn into the Discharge Depot.
Yes, all aboard. Rant.
Nice. Tell me about this Atlantis stuff. What's
okay? Before that, we are going to be doing Christmas at the Kowloon this weekend, and I say we. What I really mean is I, because Nick will once again, despite knowing about this month in advance, did not get the time off in time for work. I reckon to guess that you didn't even try to get the time off.
I did not because because it's the holiday season and because it's a tough shift to get off of, Wes. So
you don't get off. You trade. You barter with somebody.
I guess I could have done that. But I guess I apologize to you. I'm not going to apologize to the rest of the DSG, but I'll apologize to you.
That's very.
In fairness, though, I told you right away when we were planning out, I'm probably not going to be able to do that, and we should try Friday night. And then it got hijacked, so that's why I'm not apologizing.
That was the day that everyone could most agree on.
It's
while I agree, I would love to have you there, but we have to do with the majority rules.
100%. Friday wasn't even entertained though, so screw those guys.
I threw it all out there though, right? I threw out the whole weekend.
I told you I'm not upset with you. I'm not upset with Doc because I know Doc would have made it work for me. But everybody else, Rossi, who said he had to have a certain time, I don't even know. It sounds like he's might not even be going. So you guys have fun.
He's going.
I hope Billy chokes on a fucking chicken bone. And everybody else. Well, I'm not going to wish it on everybody, but
it was a +1 situation. We wanted to bring the wags, the children, the kiddos, but I guess next year, Nick. I don't know.
I apologize to you. I'll see you all at golf when we do that because Lord knows I can't wait for that stuff. I do like our golf outings because I get to see each other, but that's it.
Yes, I agree as well. So I think the Lost City of Atlantis. So maybe I hyped this up a little bit too much, but you're familiar with the Joe Rogan podcast, right? So they had a guest on. I think it's called Jimmy Corsetti. Bright, and his YouTube channel is Bright Insight, something like that.
Okay.
But he has all these crazy YouTube videos of where he and other scholars, quotation marks, think the Lost City of Atlantis is the Eye of the Sahara Desert. So you're familiar with the Eye of Sahara Desert?
No, I've never heard of that.
So if you overlook on Google Maps, there's something called, or even just Google it, the Eye of the Sahara. It looks very much similar to what is Plato described as the Lost City of Atlantis, with what is it, like 3 rings of water followed by 3 rings of land. And he goes into all these different things about how there was an opening at the south end, and it looks like with the way that the sand grooves are around it shows it looks like water used to be running around all around that area, and interesting YouTube videos. So
their theory is that Atlantis is not a city that's under the oceans.
It got washed under the water at a certain point. There was a certain they think the Sahara Desert at a certain point wasn't a desert, that it was this lush, green, vibrant area. And something happened at this event, and it caused the city to kind of collapse or get washed and taken under a sea, whether it was a great flood or something of that effect. But very interesting guy nonetheless. I found out about him through the Joe Rogan podcast and went on a deep dive this weekend. So I figured it out.
That is a cool image, though. I will say, looking at that, I've never seen the Eye of the Sahara, so I'd never.
It's a cool, and there's the white stuff in there. It's supposed to be salt. There's a whole bunch of salt deposits within the Sahara Desert, which would leads some to suggest that there was evidence of salt water there.
Well, you did. You definitely had a different weekend than I did.
That's why I can't walk Doc ankle bracelet.
Yeah, this is why you're doing God's work. That's why.
Yeah, I'm doing the Lord's work.
Yes. Well, I went and watched The Butterfly Effect for the first time. Which
similar type of vein though. I like it.
Do you like that movie or no?
It's an uneasy. Left me an uneasy feeling.
It is definitely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's very rattling. But I thought it because when I watched it with Lauren, like she loves the movie, and I was like, okay. She said a lot of people don't like this or criticize or whatever. I can see why people would criticize it. Big reason being like it's an unsettling ending, or not a satisfying ending, and it's an unsettling watch. I thought it was good. Kutcher's not my guy.
In my early 20s. No, I know. I thought he did a really good job in this, though. And Ethan Suplee's in it. Amy Smart's really great in that as well.
Amy Smart is outstanding in that. But with Kutcher, what's really weird is it feels like he's wearing eye makeup the entire time, but like not really like leaning into it. I don't understand.
He's like a Derek Carr type of thing.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. I also watched Ava, starring Jessica Chastain, which is basically like Kate and was it Anna or Hannah? But just different in some ways. But like I enjoy those movies, but like definitely not this like crazy riveting thing. Kate's definitely like the cream of the crop of like a female-led action movie. But I think this probably was my second favorite. I think Chastain's character was very cool. But
quick power rankings of your female-led, female-named action movies.
Probably Kate. Ava, and is it Hannah? I think it's Hannah. I can't remember if it's Hannah. It's got to be Hannah, not Anna.
Hannah or Anna. I don't know. There's Annabelle, honorable mention.
Oh, God, no. Those things are straight nightmare fuel. Hell no. I don't know if there's any others. But then the other thing, I did not watch this in its entirety. I saw bits and pieces as...
What do you think of Salt?
I think I thought Salt was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because
was she Salt? It's Angelina Jolie, right?
I like Angelina Jolie. I think she's a badass, but it's been so long. I think I got to put that number 4 for right now. But if you think of any others, let me know.
We can come back next week with a full report.
Speaking of speaking of female-led shows with just one word in it, in the title, Made on Netflix. Maid isn't like a housemaid. So Lauren was watching this, and I'm working or whatever, and she's been watching it, and so I didn't sit down. I wasn't locked in the whole time, but it's very it's intense. And I from everything that I saw, like in asking her some questions, putting pieces together, it is a really, really well done show. It is a limited series. It's 10 episodes. You talk about unsettling with Butterfly Effect. Very, very unsettling. And it's about this girl who's like working as a maid, like for a company, and then the struggles that she deals with outside of that, because it's a lot more focused outside of that. But very, very, very well done show for sure.
I imagine the issues that arise is that the male clients are always trying to sleep with her.
Not even nope, not unless it happened in the first unless it happened
that's like most porno themes.
Yeah, no, it's more like she doesn't make any money and she has a kid, and she's got like a father who's like come back into her life who was an asshole, a baby daddy who's very much like her father was, who the father turns out to be way more of a scumbag than you would have thought. And then the mom has mental health issues, and it's very like jarring. And the actress is somebody, and actually the
Maybe
mom
she should try porn.
The
that would be better money.
The mother and daughter in this are actually mother and daughter in real life, and the mother is an actress who I don't know her name, but it's definitely, if you saw her face, Wes, you'd know who it was. Maybe is it? No, not. I don't know. I don't know her name, but you once you look it up, you'll know exactly who she is. You'll recognize her face.
All right, I like that. Made on Netflix, not a porno.
Not a porno. All right, it is time
for Shared Universe.
All right, what do we got going on this week, Wes?
Well, Dork actually released their episode this week, yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this, as a crow flies, of course, a top childhood Christmas gifts episode. So they did that episode, sharing some of their top childhood Christmas gifts. But if you are interested in our top childhood Christmas gifts, you can listen to an episode that we did last year on episode 96 in the archives.
That's right. And then Mac and Goo. Well, okay, I guess.
What are they doing?
They did 21 questions ahead of Spider-Man No Way Home, which they will be seeing a few days ahead of the rest of us, I guess, because we're plebes.
Yeah, they're hashtag press pass boys. And the People for Communism podcast did an appetizer tier list. Doesn't sound right. They did that with Mr. Emerson Latzia, who I caught. I know you like to have a weird dichotomy of like your work Nick Fryer and your fry guy.
It's more the Twitter accounts, Russ, because
because
think about it, like, you don't want to tweet about comic book stuff a ton from your work account, and it's a very, very different audience.
I agree. But I caught you on your one of your live streams on the Sweat. And I just saw you just chirping Emerson Latzia. Didn't look like he was having his best day at that point in time. He seemed a little down in the dumps. I don't know what was going on
I forget what it was.
That stream, but he didn't seem too happy. And then like you jumped all over him because he was asking for centers, and you had just explained centers on like the daily fantasy ones.
Yeah. I think he had like a little bit of a mental lapse, and he caught himself. But of course, I got to chirp him back. It's I don't feel like I don't think I was that mean, but I don't know. I guess I don't know. Wes,
we'll have to go back to the tape and check it out.
Yeah,
like, wow, Fryer holding no punches back. Like I said, I feel like you're using kid gloves with us now.
Well, never with you and never with Doc. I can't speak to the rest of the DSG. I will say I don't use kid gloves with Billy. I tell him how I really feel about him more than anybody. But no, definitely not with you guys. But they're, I'll leave that up for interpretation.
Okay.
TLDR, I mentioned we were talking about earlier this week. The big thing is a week, was it the week of the 14th? We're going to be doing the TLDR comic book gift guide. So very excited for that. And what about Hot Guys on Hawkeye?
Yeah, we'll be doing episode 4 this week. Maybe on Wednesday, maybe not. Goo's on a weird holiday schedule here. He's trying to get those extra holiday hours, trying to win those extra toys for baby Raffy there.
Nice.
So, you got to bring in the money there. So Papa's bringing home the bacon. We'll be bringing an episode, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, but nonetheless, an episode.
Yeah, of course. The most popular podcast in the DSG. And then we go to, I've heard it both ways. They are doing season 3. Well, it's because they got Billy on there, but season 3, episode 12, I believe, of Psych.
Yes, they just released episode 11 not too long ago. That's how I know that.
Now, as for us next week, Wes, I know we had talked about doing the Muppet Christmas Carol this time around, but of course we had Casey on because all the news that he just couldn't help but share with us. We have either Muppets or we were talking about doing an MCU rewatch heading into Spider-Man 2.
Listen,
right?
I think we get Spider-Man in 2 weeks. I think we do Muppet Christmas Carol. Let's stay in the Christmas spirit as much as we can here. I think we should do that.
We will absolutely do that. We're not going to confirm though, same bat time, same bat place though, right? Because we may have. Are we possibly going to have a third person in for that, or is that still a no?
We might. Yeah, I'll bring it up. Actually, that's a great question.
Okay, so make sure you guys are following us on Twitter, and of course you subscribe to the show, so that way you don't have to worry about when we're going or what we're talking about, because you'll just get it delivered right to your inbox, or you'll get a notification right on Twitter.
I like it. That's real good stuff.
So until then, right, Wes?
But yeah, anyway, same bat time, same bat place. You still want to mark it down.